For the last decade or so, my training has swung between two extremes, all in or nothing. And as life got more complex, whether that was work getting more strenuous or too many things going on in my personal life, or in the last 5 years, starting to have kids, that just didn't work and nothing became the more prominent option for me. If you're new here, my name is Steve. I'm a husband, a dad to three amazing boys, and a guy with a full-time job and big dreams. I'm on a journey to get healthy and fit through mountain biking, proving to my kids and myself that you don't have to give up on your goals, even when life's full. If you're trying to hold on to your dreams while showing up for your family, you're not alone. Welcome to the ride. So it's been a process to find the right balance for me, to balance everything that I have going on in my life and actually make progress towards some goals and kind of have the health and fitness and lifestyle that I really want to, that I kind of always had it in my mind. And I've learned a lot of mistakes and had some good progress. And you can watch my last video to talk a little bit more about what things look like today, but I wanted to make this video a bit more about the lessons I've learned over the last decade and how I got to that point. So the first one I'll categorize as just aimless training. If I didn't have some sort of event or competition, race, something like that to work towards, then my training just kind of looked a bit haphazard. And again, it was kind of like moments of motivation where I'd really be all in, and big drop offs. And what happened more recently in the last 5 years is having kids was that if the slightest inconvenience happened, then the training or my adherence to good nutrition just kind of completely fell off. So where I found a lot more success was if I put something on the radar. And what happened really well for the last 2 years was putting some big things on the radar, things that I knew I could commit to, things that I knew my family would be able to commit to. Like they weren't, uh, there wasn't a high likelihood that I might have to cancel it or something like that. So it was on the calendar. I was committed to it, and that really provided some structure. And I wish I could say that I had like the utmost self-discipline to have nothing on the radar and I was just always motivated and disciplined, but uh, that's just not what has worked for me over the years. So that's a big thing that I've learned, to have something to tie it around, and even some loose milestones went a long way for myself. All right, the second one is really that all or nothing piece. And the way that this looked for me was that I would have moments of really high motivation, and again, I'd be all in. And so that would translate into like big volume, big intensity, and on the other side of it would be a big drop off because it was too much. I would get hurt, or the fatigue, training fatigue, something like that would be just too high, and I'd fall off really big time on the other side of it. And kind of similar, because it was just a moment in time, I wasn't really recovering very well. I wasn't thinking about how all the other factors in my life were coming into play: poor sleep, um, yeah, sleep quality, nutrition, work stress, life stress, and now that I'm in my 40s with kids around, I'm starting to see the impact of all of those things a bit more than when I was younger. I would just try to push through it more, and now I've kind of been able to observe and pinpoint that that's not working. The other part of that, I think, would be that in a given training day or a given training session, I would try to bite off more than I could chew. I would try to make it a really intense session. I would try to pack a lot into it, and it kind of looked like hero days is the way that I can kind of categorize it by looking back on it. And so if you watched my last video, you kind of saw that, it's really about manageable sessions. They might not look grand, but I know I can get it done. I know I can get it done in a small amount of time, and that helps me to be more consistent week after week, month after month. So no more crazy hero days or anything like that. So it really came down to learning how I could be consistent with my sessions, with my level of effort, and with everything else that was going on in life. The third thing is not rebalancing and rebuilding after having kids and kind of this new phase of life that I was in. So I was really just taking my former approach and just trying to fit it into this new chapter of life, and the two didn't mesh very well. So I would I used to have longer sessions because I had more time and flexibility. My sessions could have been an hour and a half or 2 hours, and I could kind of take my time, or I might be able to do two sessions in a day. And that framework has not worked for me over the last 5 years since we had our first kid. And I think similarly, I had expectations around the types of workouts or the types of movements that I was doing, or some of the old strength numbers that I might put up, things like that. And where I've landed now is I've really had to shift into accepting where I'm at right now and moving forward from today to next month to 6 months to a year from now, and kind of ignoring where I was, or not making that the goal necessarily. It's good information, it's good data, but it's not super relevant in terms of where I'm going to get to in a few months or next year. And I was trying to keep this to kind of three things, but there's sort of a bonus one that threads throughout. So kind of a fourth category of mistakes is rushing back into things. So I've had a number of times where specifically my back has sort of given out. I've had a few back issues. I have fractured vertebrae and a couple bulged discs, and every once in a while it things flare up and it sets me back. And sometimes it can set me back a lot. And one of the problems is that I will just try to recover hard and then jump right back into training. And obviously, if you've been there, that just doesn't work. But I've learned a lot more about what building back actually can look like for me. And again, it comes back to starting small and being consistent. That's probably the biggest learning and thread to all of this, is finding out how to be consistent and letting my ego go, so that I can just take small steps and take those small steps consistently, so that I'm still training. I'm minimizing things. I'm minimizing potential setbacks, because I'm not taking too big of a jump too fast. I hope that's helped. If you're finding your place in a new chapter of life, maybe you've recently had kids, your family has changed, your work situation has changed, and you're just having a hard time balancing what working out used to look like and what it means now. Or maybe you're stepping off of a season and chapter of your life where you've just been incredibly inactive and you're stepping into it now. And I think there's definitely some things in here that you can learn. And if you're interested in following along more, I'm going to keep sharing more of this kind of stuff. And you can let me know in the comments if there's a specific question or idea that you've had that I could talk about. I'm certainly not an elite athlete or professional athlete by any means, but come a long way and have learned a lot from myself. And hopefully some of that can work for you too. So keep following along, and appreciate you tuning in. And I'll see you back here for more soon.